Best, we want to make sure that we get started on time and welcome to the Best Vision webinar. And it's all about making your vision happen. 5 must do's. I'm so excited that you have decided to join me this evening because it means that you really are committed to getting a jump start on 2020 and you want to make it your best year ever. Well, let's get started. I first like to orient you to a little bit about our platform. There should be 2 images on your screen. Right now, the image in full view should be the PowerPoint slide presentation, and you should see a smaller image of me. And you can toggle back and forth if you're interested in viewing the slide or you're trying to view me, just toggle back and forth to the image that you're interested in. Up at the top of your screen, you should see an opportunity for you to chat and an opportunity for you to ask questions. And so if you have a comment that you want to make or some feedback, use the chat box. And if you have a question, just type your question in. And I'm going to make sure that I answer questions throughout the broadcast. And I will certainly also at the end make sure if I haven't answered all the questions that I come back and I do so. If time runs out and we're not able to answer all of the questions, I will provide a written summary of answers to questions that were asked during the broadcast. And good news, a replay will be available immediately following the webinar. So you can take notes as we go along, but you can also know that you'll have time to go back and review the slides after the webinar and look at it as many times as you would like to. I am all about outcomes, and so there are 3 that I want to accomplish during our time together this evening. The first one is that you've noticed that B.E.S.T is an acronym, and I want you to have clarity around what it stands for, and it really is much larger than just an acronym. I have formulated a B.E.S.T model, and I want to also shed some insight into that as well, because as we talk about the must-dos, it all ties back to the B.E.S.T framework. Now, there are 5 actions that I want you to definitely walk away from this webinar knowing that you must take in 2020 if you want to take the vision that you have and transform it into reality. And I also hope that at the end of this webinar, you will have a sense of sort of where you are in relationship to these actions. Some of them you may be doing and you just need to tweak a little bit. Others you might not be doing at all. But at the end, you'll know where you are, and you can sort of create your strategy for how you best move forward. So, a little bit about me, for those of you who don't know me. I am the founder of the Outcomes Management Group, and it bears that name because I am very passionate about outcomes. I founded the company in 1994, and just last month, we turned 25. And so we're really excited about that. Over those 25 years, we've had the opportunity, and we have been so blessed to go inside over 150 organizations all around the country, the United States of America, as well as South Africa. And we have touched over 50,000 individuals. Now, because I'm so passionate about outcomes, I realized, I would say about 15 years ago, that some organizations seem to get better results than others. And I wondered what was contributing to that success. So I decided to do a research study on 125 of the organizations and see if I could determine what was driving those better outcomes. And as a result of that research, I was able to identify that indeed there were 4 characteristics of the people and the organizations that were contributing to those extraordinary results. And those four characteristics formulate now that acronym of BEST. And I'll explain that a little bit later. Well, it was great to find out that there were these four characteristics that were influencing results. And I started using those in the framework to approach our work with our clients. And about 5 years ago, a segment of the clients that we worked with, the individuals in the various organizations, was curious about how BEST might connect to speed. And maybe you will have guessed that that segment of the population was my young professionals. They had goals that they wanted to achieve fast, and they wanted to see if BEST could help them do that. Upon further analysis, I was able to find a relationship between BEST and FAST. And thus the model expanded and it became the BEST FAST model. And I've been over the past 5 years now looking at what happens when people are being their best and when they're moving as fast as they can. And I realize that when we are really at our best and we're moving as fast as we can really live our best life. And so my focus now is bringing out the best in individuals and organizations to achieve extraordinary results so that you can live your best life. So what does this all mean? There's some basic tenets that I want you to embrace because it sort of drives everything. The first one is that you have an assignment. So you are here and you have a calling, and there's a particular assignment that you're expected to complete. What we don't know is how long you have to complete that assignment. What we do know then is that you need to be about living on mission. And that means, making sure that you're focused on your purpose here. And at the end of the day, everything is really all about you. We have a tendency to want to look at circumstances, our environment, the people that are around us, things that happen to us, and all those things are preventing us from doing what it is that we want to do. But it really, at the end of the day, it is about you. And these are the questions that I asked as I looked at my data around what was driving extraordinary results. The first one was, what were the characteristics that I could identify that would distinguish a person who was getting extraordinary results from a person who wasn't? And I was able to find some characteristics and some attributes of those individuals. The next thing I wanted to do was to see exactly what actions were these individuals taking that was propelling them to get those extraordinary results. And then finally, I wanted to explore, those things that we talk about that might be influencing whether or not they were getting those extraordinary results. And here's what I found out, that when you take a look at these four characteristics, the first one is bright. And if you are bright, then you are focused on your image. And when you focus on your image, the outcome that you achieve is the ability to attract. And if you want to be successful, you have to attract. You have to attract people. You may have to attract funders. You may have to attract partners. You may have to attract customers. So focusing on image is important as it relates to the attraction outcome. E is about excellence, and that particular characteristic, the focus is on standards. You can't know if you're excellent if you don't have a standard by which you're measuring yourself. And the outcome is growth. And of course, we all want to grow and need to grow if we're going to be successful. S is about satisfaction. And this particular characteristic focuses on meeting your needs and expectations and meeting others' needs and expectation. And the outcome that we discovered from this one, which I really was excited about, is energy. And energy translates into productivity. So when you're satisfied, you're more productive. T is about timeliness and being timely. And this characteristic, individuals are really focused on meeting deadlines. And research really supports my finding here that people in organizations who are very disciplined about time are better able to seize opportunities. And what we know about opportunities is that they come very fast. And if you aren't disciplined about time, you're not able to seize those opportunities. So that's BEST. So let's switch gears now to taking a look at time, because remember, my young professional group said, can we go fast? Can we go faster? And so the first question was, how do we really determine speed? Can we really measure the speed at which we're moving? And we spend most of our time just focusing on what we're doing and what we get from what we do. But we don't really take a look at how much time is it taking us to get that result. And could we do things differently and get a result faster? And that's the question. And I was able to find that there were indeed 6 influencers that were impacting individuals' time and the time it was taking them to get things completed. And if you controlled those influencers, you could indeed adjust your time. And it also means that there's some actions that one could take in order to actually go faster so that you really could control your speed. And here are the 6 influencers that I was able to identify. So regardless of whether you are doing anything or not, these influencers are impacting how fast you're moving. The first icon represents your environment. So we are in multiple environments all day, and those environments are impacting whether we're going slow or fast. The people around us, which is the second outcome, our relationships, are also impacting our speed. The third one is our mindset. We've heard quite often that we should have a growth mindset. Well, that mindset facilitates you moving faster. So mindset is important. The fourth icon is around balance. And this is really interesting because today I'm finding that more and more this, when people are out of balance, they're moving slower. In fact, some people come to a halt because they have not taken care of themselves first. They're so busy trying to accomplish their goals and taking care of everyone else except themselves. And therefore, they don't realize it, but they're not going as fast as they could be as it relates to their goals. The fifth icon is all about communication. And yes, what we say and what others say to us and when we say things and where we say things, all of those things end up impacting our speed. And finally, celebration impacts our speed. Think about it. Most of the times we wait and we celebrate until we get to the really end of something. So let's just say when I was working on my doctorate, if I waited to celebrate that I got it in 3 years versus celebrating as I achieved milestones, I could really pick up speed with celebrating more often, because celebration makes us feel good about what we're doing and excited that we've accomplished something, and we have more energy to keep going and getting through things faster. So those are the 6 influencers that actually impact our speed. And this leads to the third definition that I want you to turn with me on, and this is about living your best life. And I know that everyone is saying that today, I'm living my best life. But what does that really mean? It has meaning for me because, again, I'm looking at it through the lens of BEST, as we've talked about earlier. And it means you're passionate about that assignment. Remember, I said you have one. And so when you're passionate about it, that starts the living your best life because you're bringing, exuberance to your life. Every day, you are making the best use of your time because you're cognizant of the fact that you don't know how much time you have to complete your assignment. So you're wanting to spend your time wisely. You let your light shine everywhere you go, and you focus on meeting the needs and expectations of others in an excellent manner. You live a life that's purposeful because you're on mission, you're balanced, you're abundant, and you're blessing others. And really, what makes the best life, I think, so important is this last statement, and that is you leave an indelible footprint on this earth. So that's living your best life. Now, to get ready for 2020, I want you to now focus with me on the formula that I'm operating from, and I want you to operate from. Remember those 4 characteristics of BEST? Well, now here's something new. Those 4 characteristics can turn into a superpower. In fact, 4 superpowers. And we want to leverage those superpowers so that we can get those extraordinary results. So B to the 4th power, those are our superpowers, plus those 6 influencers that we want to control will equal our extraordinary results and allow us to live our best lives. Now, the superpowers, there are 4 of them. We're not going to really delve into this tonight. Hopefully, you'll join into a future broadcast about superpowers, but I just wanted to introduce these to you. The first one is gravitational attraction. The second icon represents distinction. The third is contentment. And the fourth is time manipulation. And each of these superpowers has 8 behaviors. And yes, there is a best superpower quiz and a best superpower test. And I know you're going to want to find out about your superpowers because you see, once you have this gravitational superpower, you're able to not only attract, but also inspire and empower others. When you have leveraged your distinction superpower, everything that you're doing is excellent, effective, and growth is occurring. When you're leveraging your contentment superpower, you're satisfied and people around you are satisfied, and therefore there's a climate and a culture of collaboration. You're working well together and you're very productive. And finally, time manipulation. When you have that superpower, it's all about timeliness, efficiency, and seizing opportunities. So in 2020, you want to be leveraging your superpowers, learning how to boost them. Everybody has at least one. You really want to develop them. You really want to have all 4 so that you can really rock and roll. Well, what about those influencers? You've got to control them. And there are 3 of them that I want you to know that you need to really think about controlling. The first one is your environment. Because remember, every day you're stepping into an environment. Either that environment is controlling you or you need to learn how to control that environment. The people that are around you, 2020, you might need to eliminate a few people or not spend so much time with a few people and find some other people, and we'll come back to that, as well as maintaining balance. So that's just the overview that really get you into the framework so that as we really talk about the actions that you need to take, you and I are sort of on the same page regarding how I am approaching my view of making things happen. If anyone has any questions, you could type those in right now and I'll take a look at them and we'll come back and answer them. So if you have some questions, feel free to drop them in the question box. So I'm excited about 2020. I hope you are. About this time of the year, I always get excited because it means we're getting ready for a new year. But what makes 2020 exciting is that we're not just going into a new year, but we're going into the first year of a new decade. And so as we think about our vision, we can really think about how can we keep doing things towards our vision that is really going to have a long-term impact. I want you to just think about that for a moment, because we can do something that starts out, it could be a short term or it could be long term. And when I think about my vision of bringing out the best in individuals, and when I think particularly about wanting to bring out the best in young professionals, and if I continue to do that year after year after year, the long-term impact is that there could be an impact on a generation. And if a generation is being their best and living their best lives, I can't even begin to imagine what the world would be like. So I want you to think about your vision and what kind of long-term impact can your vision have if you stick with it and you keep working on it so that you can achieve the results that you would like to achieve. So 2020, it's not just another year, it's the beginning of a decade and an opportunity to really have some impact. Well, are you ready? Let's look at the very first must do. So the first must do is intentional focus. Now you can see from the quote on the screen that it's really hard for any of us to accomplish anything significant and be successful if we don't learn how to manage our mind. And in the best world, we think of our best mindset. And so if we're not intentionally focusing on our vision, we can easily not translate that vision into reality. So what can you do to make sure that you are intentionally focusing? I've got 3 suggestions, 3 tips. I don't know if you're a list maker or not, but I am. And if you make a to-do list every day and you're looking at your list, the things that you want to do, I want to suggest to you that in 2020, and you might even want to start now before you get there, to think about your vision and think about what are the things that you need to do today that relate to your vision. Because, you know, we all have things that we're doing that are not related to our vision. So I have things that I have to do. It relates to taking care of my house, or I have some things that relate to my church, or some organizations that I'm in, or some things that relate to family. Those are things that have to get done as well. And what we have to be careful about is doing all the things that have to get done and not spend time on the things that really relate to our vision. So every day on that list that you're making, and when you're thinking about the things that you're going to do for the day, I want you to have top on the list, first thought is about your vision. And what are those things that you really need to do today that will move your vision from an idea to reality? Now, you got your things down on your paper. You now know here are the things that you need to do. Maybe for me, it's 3 things today. I've got to do some writing. I got to make some videotapes. I've got to create some new products. Now it's important for me to think about, at the end of the day, what's the one thing that I absolutely must complete that will move my vision forward? Because I could do maybe some writing today, but will that be the task that will really help me get my vision moving forward? Maybe it's the videos, or is it the product? But every day you want to look at those things that you need to do towards your vision and select the one that you must get done. So if anything comes up before you go to bed, you know that you have this one thing done that is going to keep you focused and move your vision forward. And the third thing that's really related to maintaining intentional focus is making intentionality of eliminating distractions. Now, there's that word, distractions. And we have lots of distractions today, right? And those distractions are all tied to our technology devices. And so we're always getting zinged, and there's an email message, or there's something on, one of our social media platforms. And so what you want to do is to really think about, what are those things that are distracting me from my vision? And how am I going to control those distractions so that I can not get off my vision? Well, when you have to, first of all, you have to have clarity about your vision, and you need to be passionate about the vision, because if you're not clear about it and you're not passionate about it, you can easily get distracted. So let's say I'm out and I'm posting on Facebook. I've got something I need to post on my, Be Your Best page. And so while I'm posting, I see something pop up. Let's just say I subscribe to some songs, or I subscribe to a guy that is one of my mentors that I really love. His name is Carrie Oberbrunner. And so it gives me a little ding, and I see Carrie's got something on. So I look to see what it is. Now, suppose Carrie's talking about his upcoming conference, or let's say Carrie's talking about something that really relates to my division, like my vision, like how to increase the people that are in my tribe. Well, if it's about his conference, nice to know, but don't need to stop and get all caught up in his conference. If it's about the tribe, then I better listen in, because that can help me move my vision forward. So when we are clear that when things come up, we will either ignore them, put them on hold, or if we decide that we're going to tune in, we know that it is still related to advancing our vision. But we have to be intentional about distractions. So that means people calling us, ignoring the calls, not feeling compelled to answer the calls every time your phone rings. So you can designate a time that you're going to get back to people that are calling you, because it's a distraction if you get off into a conversation that's not related to your vision. That's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes that you have now dedicated to something else. So, number one, most important, is intentional focus on your vision. Well, let's take a look at our second must do. This one is all about preparation. I wish I could say that we wouldn't ever have to worry about having any trials or any tribulations, but that's not the case. Those do come along. And today, there's a lot of disruption that is occurring. And so what we have to do is make sure that we're as prepared as we can be. Carrie says that when you prepare for the moment is prepared for you. So how might you prepare? Here's my suggestion. In the best world, I'm looking at life is a journey. And when you think about going on a journey, then you can also think about the fact that you tend to have signs along the way that lets you know what path to get on or what's coming up. and so on. Now, these are some of the signs that I've identified. I want you to think about signs that have come up in your life that you need to make sure that you're prepared for. And preparation means that you've given thought to these signs so that when they appear, you already have a strategy for how you're going to manage those signs. So, you know that one that says the road is closed? Have you bumped into that in your life? Well, do you still keep trying to push forward even though the road is closed? That's called wasting time. If the road is closed, it's closed. And so it may mean that it's just not time now for you to go down this path. It doesn't mean that you won't go. When the road is clear, you can get back on the road. But in the meantime, you need to decide, what are you going to do while this road is closed? And putting that time to use towards moving your vision forward. There are bumps in the road. My pastor often asks, what's the word you're standing on when there's a bump in the road? And I like that because it challenged me to start thinking about and preparing for those bumps. So for me, I look to the word. You might look to something else. But if I find out all of a sudden I've fallen and I hurt my leg, here's what I say, by his stripes I'm healed. That's a bump in the road. I don't want that to magnify itself. And so I start thinking about words that relate to the situation that I'm in. And I have my list. So I've already prepared them. And so I know, hey, if this happens, here's the word that I'm going to get on right away so that I can start moving my mind, moving my spirit, everything to move and manage around this particular bump in the road so that it doesn't slow me and it doesn't stop me and it doesn't defeat me. The same thing regarding a detour. Sometimes detours come. How do you handle those? One of my strategies is to make sure that if there's a detour, I look for someone who already has, gone down this path, can help me to reroute so that I can make sure that I still get where I need to go as fast as I can. So, something for you to think about. What signs are on your life's journey that you need to make sure you've given thought to before 2020 comes so that you are prepared, you are ready. And those signs, when they come, you're going to know how to respond so that you can still keep moving forward on your vision. Let's take a look at the third one. Jesse Owens talks about the fact that we all have dreams, but how do we make those dreams come to reality? And he talks about the fact that you've got to have determination and dedication and self-discipline and effort. I love that. And so if we're going to achieve our vision, we have to align things so that we can really achieve that vision. We have to align our actions. We have to make sure that the things that we're doing are really going to move our vision forward. So that means that it's important for us to have a roadmap, some kind of blueprint, some kind of plan that can help us make sure that we're doing the things that we need to be doing at the right time, going in the right direction to achieve our goals. So in our BEST roadmap, we work on making sure that we could do 10 things, but what are the priorities that we need to focus on in order to really achieve our goals? And then we put our goals in what we call, and you probably have done this through your work, a SMART format, so that we know that the goal is specific. We're not confused about the goal because we know exactly what it means. So it's not, I'm going to lose weight. That's not very specific. Am I going to lose 10 pounds or am I going to lose 5 pounds? I mean, what am I going to lose? So we want to be specific. We want to be able to measure it so that we can know whether or not we've achieved our goal. We want to make sure it's achievable and it's realistic. So I'm not going to want to lose 50 pounds in a week. That doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. So we want to make sure it's achievable, realistic. And remember, I put that week in there because we have to have a timeline, a time frame. And then we've got our goals, we've got our priorities, but now we've got to think about what are all the things that we have to do? What are the actions that we need to align with those goals? Because a lot of times people are busy doing a whole lot of things, thinking that those things are going to help them accomplish their vision, but they're not the right actions. And so we've got to really make sure that those actions line up with what our goal is. So I can't be interested in losing weight and my actions are not centered around nutrition or physical activity. It's not centered around just reading a book on losing weight. I mean, that might be a resource that I can use, but it's not the action that I want to stay focused on. And so speaking of resources, we have to know those as well, because we could have the right action, but then if we don't have the resource, we can't get it done. Or we can't get it done as well or as fast as we could. So we want to make sure that we've given thought to that. And of course, yes, when are we going to start it and when are we going to end so that we can actually have a sense of how long is it going to take us in order to accomplish this goal. And remember, we want to pick actions that can help us go fast as we can. Not just an action that's a nice thing to do, but it really won't help us to get there as fast as we can. I'll just stick to weight. I've been struggling a while with that. How do I maintain my weight? How do I lose weight? And so we know that you can. It's nutrition. We know it's also physical activity. It's hydration. We can go through a lot of pieces to the pie. But what's the first place that you need to start where you're going to get the biggest bang if you start there? Do you know what that is? Think about it. Some people think they start rushing to the gym and they start working out. Well, no, it starts with nutrition. So it's nutrition that has to get tackled. So you want to really do your homework and be really clear about actions so that you're not just engaging in things but that you're picking the right actions that line up, with your goals. So that's our third area. And let's see what our next one is, our fourth one. Oh, yes. It's all about timely execution. And that's the key word, timely, because we want to make it happen, but we have to really make sure that we're focusing on time. Now, here's something that we often don't realize. Consistency goes here with timely, because oftentimes we select things and we do it, but we don't do it consistently. So when we're not consistent, it takes longer to get the outcome. And that's why we have to focus on the consistency. So, here we go again. If I exercise one time and then I don't exercise the next, and then I exercise a couple of weeks later, and then maybe a month later, well, it's going to take a long time, right? Yeah, that's what happens. So it's really all about looking at how consistent are we. I'd love to always try to throw my husband in. He is so consistent, every day. And when he does things, he repeatedly does it. Well, that's how he gets things done faster and well. So it is about consistency. And I can't emphasize that enough. Now, when we talk about time and we talk about consistency, it brings up my favorite action that, again, we have a tendency not to do and not to like, and that is our scorecard, because that which gets measured gets managed. And so if we're not tracking, if we're not keeping track of things, then we don't know whether we're achieving our goals as fast as we can. And remember, I'm really here wanting to push the as fast as we can, because we may know that we're achieving goals, but I'm really wanting you in 2020 to be focused on speed along with achieving the goal. So even if I'm moving along and I see that I'm achieving my outcome in a month, I want you to think about, could I have done it faster? And if I could do it faster, what actions might I take in order to see if I can speed that time up? Because again, we don't know how much time we have. So we want to make the best use of our time. And so we want to constantly be looking at our time. Now, I say a personalized scorecard because we each need to, create our own scorecard, because what you're going to look at and what I need to look at is going to all be different. But the scorecard should be clear that here's why I'm looking at it, here's what I need to look at, here's how I'm going to look at it, and here's when I'm going to look at it. So those are the key components to thinking about your scorecard. And let's take a look at our fifth must-do. And this one has to do with the right traveling companions. Now, relationships equal results. And I love that. And I think we all know that our parents used to tell us, watch who you're around, because, it really has an impact on you. But in my recent discovery, I found out that life moves at the speed of relationships. So isn't that interesting? That you're going fast or slow based upon the people that are around you. Let's take a look at the people that are around you, and I want you to identify people in the following areas. So there needs to be 5 people on your sideline, and it really doesn't have to be 5, but the people that are on your sideline need to address these particular functions. So first and foremost, you need a best buddy or an accountability partner. You got to have somebody that you can trust, that when you tell them these are the things that you're going to be doing, here's when you're going to be doing it, etc., that they are going to follow up. They're going to keep up with you. They're going to make sure that you're doing what you said you're going to do. Now, that's why it has to be somebody that really loves you and that you really trust, because when you're not behaving in the way that you need to, you're going to have to suck it up and, know that you have to face the music. My husband is my accountability partner. He's right here, right now, beside me, making sure I stay on time. Don't you love it? So you got to have an accountability partner. That's foremost and most important, because a lot of times I find myself that I am not behaving in a way that's consistent with the things that I say. And that happens to all of us because we're not always thinking about those behaviors in relationship to what we're trying to accomplish. So you need somebody else that's checking you out and noticing that you're doing something that isn't consistent. Because again, it's all about doing the right things at the right time in order to turn that vision into a reality. Now, you got to have a best encourager. You got to have somebody around you. We talked about it. There's going to be trials. There are going to be disruptions. There are going to be things that come up. And you need somebody that can say, hey, you can do it. Yes, you can. You're good at that. So you need that encourager. We can encourage ourselves, but we also need to have somebody around us who will also encourage us. And then, of course, it's important to have the cheerleaders. Don't you love it when you're watching the football games and one of the things that the players say is that the cheerleaders help to urge them on. They're cheering them on, and that makes them want to make sure that they succeed. So you need somebody that's going to be cheering you on. And when you've done well, they're like, yes, I knew you could do that. And you're happy, and they're, making you smile and making you feel good and all of those things. You need a challenger. You don't need everybody around you who agrees with you and everything that you say. You need some people around you that are going to cause you to look at things differently, because that's what causes us to grow and stretch and try new ideas and maybe even move faster because they challenged you to do something that you wouldn't normally do. And you would just keep moving at your same old pace because you're comfortable with doing it that way. And someone else pushes you outside of that comfort zone. And not only do you get good results, but you're going a little bit faster. So you got to have that challenger. And then we all need somebody who I like to call your best spirit. So this is the person that helps you as it relates to when we talk about that mind, body, spirit balance. This is the person that brings that spirit side to you, and you have that person. Maybe it's a person that you can call upon that can pray for you, or someone that can meditate with you, but you need someone that is there to also nurture your spirit. Now, those are the people that are beside you. Absolutely, whether it's 5 or whether it's 3 and 2 people are doing the same function, but you've got to have spaces covered in order for you to go fast. Well, here are the most important relationships. And this is your upline. And you have to have a mentor or a sponsor. Now, in your workplace, if you really want to go somewhere, you want to be the vice president, or you want to make sure that you are a supervisor, you've got to have someone in that organization that's been there, done that, that's respected in the organization, that's going to really promote you and really expose you and introduce you to all the right players and people and help you get the funding, your salary and benefits and all the things that you should get. So you have to have the sponsor. A sponsor is going to allow you to move fastest within an organization. You need a mentor at all times. No matter where you are, somebody else has been where you want to go, and you need that person because that person helps you to save time. That's the person that's going to already know the ropes, and they can show you how to avoid some of the mistakes that they have made, and you don't have to repeat those mistakes. So you want to always look for a mentor, because the mentor is absolutely going to help you to move faster. And then, of course, you want to also think about having a coach, because a coach is like the trainer, they're also like the accountability partner, and they help you develop. And so, again, this helps you to go faster. And so those are your upline. So sideline and upline, it's a must in order for you to really go as fast as you can in moving your vision to reality. So when we think about 2020, everybody, main thing, it's up to you. You're going to be able to move that vision to reality, but it's really all about you. The 5 things that you need to focus on is making sure you have an intentional focus on your vision. Your vision is foremost, and you're focused on it along with everything else. You've got to have intentional focus on your vision, that you're prepared for your disruptions. So start thinking about how are you going to make sure that you're prepared, disaster plans, all the things that we do to prepare for things. You got to do that as it relates for your vision. Align your effort and your goals. Make sure you execute timely and consistently, that you select the right travel partners. So those are the 5 must-dos. We made it. And I'm excited that you stayed to the end. And I have some gifts for you. Here are my 3 gifts. Because intentional focus is the most important must-do, I am going to give you my Best Mindset ebook. And in that ebook, it's going to help you to really make sure that you're developing your mindset in such a way that you can have that intentional focus on your vision. I have a traveling companion infographic that I'm also going to share with you. It gets into just a tad bit more detail about each of those traveling companions so that you can pull that out, look at it, think about the people that are around you, making sure that you've got those areas covered, that you identify people if you don't, so that when you get into 2020, you've got the right people around you. And I would love to be available to chat with you about your vision and about what you're hoping to do. I would like for you to complete a best intro. And once you complete that, it allows me to take a look at, what you're trying to do, et cetera, so that we could have a productive 15-minute call. So if you're interested, that's something optional. You can certainly take advantage of that. I've written 2 books, Be Your Best and Best Fast Stories. So I invite you to go out to Amazon. And if you haven't already, I would encourage you to get those books or to get those books and maybe give them as a Christmas present to somebody else that you know, so that they can get focused on being their best and learning the things that they can do in order to go faster towards their goals. Some of you may already now be a part of my Best Life community, and I thank you for joining it. If you're not a part of the community, then I'm going to ask that you do join it. If you are a part, I'm going to ask if you would ask your friends to join. I'm really wanting to make this, its best, and I'm looking for individuals who really are wanting to live their best life. In this community, I'll be sharing resources and tools. I'll be bringing in best experts. I'll be hosting some best events. I'll be making you aware of best events. So I'm working on building this community, and I hope you'll be a part of it. Now, one part of this community is that you get a 10% discount automatically on any product that is developed by me. So join the community. There's the link. Pass it on to others. Get them involved in the Best Life community. So I do have 3 packages that I want to tell you about. I'm really excited about these. The first one is an accountability partner package. I've worked with so many people, and I have found over and over and over that it's all about accountability. When at the end of the day, they fall back. They fall back into their ways. They don't follow the plan. And they need someone by their side to get them really focused. So here's the package. I'm doing first a goal clarification coaching session, because I often find out that the goals aren't specific. They're not measurable. They're not realistic. So helping you to make sure you got the right SMART goal. Then there's a month of daily electronic check-ins. Now there's that key word, daily. Don't panic. Daily, but it's electronic. So we're not going to have to talk to each other. You're just going to get something from me electronically that you complete, and you send it back to me, and then you get something back from me. Now, what you get back from me will come in all kinds of forms. It can be encouragement. It could be celebrating something that you did. It can be feedback about something that you could do differently. I might suggest some resources to you. So you'll get every day something back from me about what you have done the previous day, so that you can stay focused, stay on track, and keep moving forward. And then there will be an opportunity for us to have a coaching session bi-weekly. So this is a 1-month package. It's an accountability partner package, and you can renew it if you end up thinking, oh, wow, that was so good. So the cost of that, if you're in the Best Life community, it's just about $248 for a month. If you're not in the community, it's $275. Now, how many of you go to Starbucks? This is about $8.25 a day. So for accountability, I don't think that's a lot to put aside to make sure that you really are staying on track to accomplish your goals. The other package that I have is a visioning one because I have also found that people think that they have a vision, but they're really not really sure whether their vision is the right vision, whether they have clarity about it. And so this is a personal visioning coaching sessions. And it's really 3 coaching sessions of an hour each. There's a personal visioning guide that you utilize in between the sessions. There's an opportunity to email and text me all the time. You can also give me an impromptu call. And of course, you have access to resources on the Best Life community. There are some bonuses with this package. Along with those things, you get a 30-day inspirational messages. You get, again, there's that daily accountability. You see that I really believe that that is so important. I'm giving it away in this package to make sure that the person stays focused once they have the vision that first month on doing all the things that they need to do to keep moving forward. And there's also 3 additional sessions. Now that's really a bonus. So the price of that is $7.95 if you're not in the community, and about $7.16 if you round up if you are in the community. The last product package that I have is a career and or life road mapping coaching programs. So I've got 2 road mapping programs. So if you want to focus on your career, there's one for the career. If you're interested in just your life, there's one for your life. And this entails 3 self-assessments. Each one of them has 3 different self-assessments. There's 8 coaching sessions. There's a follow-up session. And then there's a road mapping guide that you actually use in between the sessions. There's the same email, text messaging support, and the opportunity to call me and have access to other resources. Some bonus says with this one is a 60-minute follow-up coaching call. Again, the accountability check-ins. Here you get 100 daily inspirational messages, and something new that I have developed that's a best day e-guide, because it's to help you every day make sure you're making your best decisions and using your time wisely. So those are some of the packages. This one, by the way, it's $3,995 if you're not in the community, and about $3,600 if you are in the community. So I want to just say thank you. Thank you for coming. I hope you got something out of this that will be helpful to you. Be on the lookout electronically. You're going to be getting all those things that I told you about, your ebook, and you're going to get your infograph, and you're going to get your best intro, etc., and get started. And just remember that for 2020, it's really all about you. And the bottom line, only your best is good enough. Have a great evening. Any questions before I love it. Somebody says, let's make it happen fast. I like that. Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good evening.